Hi, welcome back. So I thank you everybody that watched my comeback video. I've had a really good response on that, lots of views, which is really lovely to see. Nice to see so many people are interested in fountain pens, and it's kind of like as excited as I am for them. So I thought I'd come back and do a my February currently inked. So I stick to very similar pens each month. I don't change them up too much because I know the ones I like to use, and I like to have a certain range. So my currently inked may not be kind of monthly, but I don't know, maybe. We'll see how we get on. But so I'm going to show you my currently inked for this month and what inks I've got in there. I'm going to swatch the inks and then give you a writing example with each of the pens. So to do the swatch, I'm using my Kakamori dip pen, and this is in I think it's a Tachikawa nib holder. So this is slightly excuse me, this is slightly cheaper than the actual Kakamori one, and it's just as good quality. So just a bit of a tip there if you don't want to pay, because the nibs are quite an investment as they are. So if you don't want to pay the price for the nib holder, these are really good looking out for. I will I don't know if it's picking it up there. Let me bring it up a bit closer so you can possibly see rather than me zoom in and changing the angle. So there you go. I will put the details in the description down below so you can see. Right, so this is my currently inked. I've got those in there just so I can get them out easier. I do usually have them all the way in. So these are my currently ink that I'm going to be using for the majority of February. Now I do tend to mix it up a little bit. I have got this one as well that I wanted to show you, so I'll show you that. And also a friend of mine made a suggestion for an ink for this one that I said I hadn't got inked and hadn't really used, so I've got that ink now, and I'm going to give that a go. So I'm going to fill this one up while we're doing this as well. So right, so first off I'm going to start with my Jinhao 100. So bear with me, but tight squeeze and things. So I'm using this one, my sea green. This tends to be a bit of a staple. I just really love how this writes. The ink I've got in here is Cosmic Glow, which is from the advent calendar, last year's advent calendar, the one just gone, Diamine. And yeah, I absolutely adore it. So this is in Sea Kelp. So the resin on this is just absolutely beautiful. So yeah, this is the Jinhao 100. It's a dupe of the Platinum Century pen. And yeah, it's such a lovely writer. So first of all, we're going to swatch the ink. So this is the ink that I'm using. So this is Cosmic Glow by Diamine, as I mentioned. Now this is a extreme sheen, and it really does sheen beautifully. I've got a medium nib in here that I bought separately and swapped out the nib, so it does give it that little bit extra, and you can really see the sheen in it. So let's give it a go and give it a good shake, and then we'll swatch it, and then I'll show you the writing. So and also just a disclaimer, ignore my nails. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you'll know my nails are never any good. I just don't have the patience. I was thinking about going and getting them done so they're all nice and pretty for you on the video, but I thought, you're here to see the pens and the ink, you're not here to see my nails, so I'm sure you won't be that fussed. So if it does bug you, please do let me know in the comments and I will get them sorted. Okay, so give it a good dip so I can get in a good swatch. Just going to wipe around there, otherwise I'm going to end up with inky fingers straight away, which I will. By the end of this video I'll have multicoloured hands, no doubt. So sometimes this swatches perfectly and I get the dip well, and sometimes it doesn't. So yep, here we go. So as you can see from this, it goes down as a really lovely kind of dark blue, more leaning on purpley, I would say. let's just do some things here, but the sheen does come through, so it's got a beautiful kind of how can I explain what the sheen looks like? It's kind of almost like a pinky sheen that comes through. You can see it's just starting to come through there. So let me just clean that up. There's another one as well that's very similar, and it's called Vibe, and it has a similar thing, but it's just slightly different shading. And oh my days, they are the most gorgeous inks. As soon as these come out, as soon as Diamine release the full-sized inks from the calendar, I will be getting one. Just a tip, if you are using a lot of different inks, these microfiber cloths are absolutely amazing as an ink rag. They're just brilliant. These are literally something like £1.50 for 3 from Poundland, and they're great, and just a really lovely aesthetic colour to the actual thing as well. It's just starting to sheen here. Let me bring it up to see if you can just see that. I think that's picking it up. I'll just put it there for the other camera, see if you can see it on there. Okay, so this is the, here we go as well, let me show you the nib there. So yeah, this is a medium nib. So this is the Jinhao 100, and it's seagrass, I believe. And then the ink is diamine, whichever way you want to say it. I think I say it both ways, so I'll probably have a mix. And it's the Ink Vent. I'm pretty sure this one was the 24 one. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I think both the Cosmic Glow actually might have been in the 23 one. I'm not sure, but Cosmic Glow and Vibe, to me they are very similar and the same kind of concept, and they're just beautiful, beautiful inks. So yeah, this is Cosmic Glow. I don't have the best writing, but I don't think you have to have the prettiest writing to still enjoy using fountain pens, so I'm an advocate for that. You see all these videos and things with the most beautiful, gorgeous kind of lettering and things, and if you're not the best at the lettering and things, it doesn't mean you still can't use them. It's just the joy of actually using them and the fun. Yeah, that's really starting to properly show the sheen now. I hope that's picking it up. Move it around. Looks to me like it's sheening quite nicely on the camera, so hopefully that'll pick up quite well. So that's that one, and yeah, just a lovely juicy medium nib on that, and it really does show the ink nicely. So that's my Jinhao 100. So beautiful, beautiful pen. And like I say, I've got that in the pink way as well, and I've got a black shimmer kind of ink in it, and again it just works lovely with the nib. So next up is my Old Faithful, one of my favourites, and this pretty much comes in every month. I use this pretty much all the time. So this is my TWSBI Cafe Bronze. So it's the cafe colour with the bronze trim, and in here I've got what has become one of my most favourite inks, not so much just for the colour, but just because it is just so amazing. So this is KWZ ink, or KWZ, whichever you want to say it. I tend to say Z for the ink, but I say Z when I'm saying Z, that UK kind of Z. And this smells like coffee, and honestly it really does smell like coffee. It's beautiful, and whenever I use this pen or use this ink, just the actual smell of it just really brightens my day. So just give it a little shake. I always shake my inks before I use them, and we'll swatch this. So obviously it smells like coffee. Not only does it smell like coffee, it's got a lovely excuse me, beautiful coffee brown colour to it. Lovely wide neck bottle to the ink as well, which is really handy. It can be quite tricky sometimes when you get some inks and you want to dip. Obviously you can then decant them into a smaller inkwell, but it's nice to just straight from the bottle. So here we go. So as you can see, beautiful coffee kind of, there's no shimmer or anything else to this, literally. However, it's just the scent. I wish you could smell it. It smells beautifully. Do get some really nice shading with it, depending on how you use this and what nib you're using. So yeah, gorgeous ink. Can highly recommend this as a nice, if you like your browns and you want something a little bit special but just nothing overly fancy or sparkly or sheeny, it's just gorgeous. And if you're a coffee lover as well, oh, I can smell it. It's just, oh, it's beautiful. Makes me want coffee. I say that, I have got my drink here, but it's I haven't got coffee at the minute, I've got a tea, so have a sip, keep my whistle wetted. Okay, so just make sure. That's one thing to be careful of with TWSBIs. Did knock that then. Obviously, you need to keep that locked in place because it's really easy to knock the other way, and that will move the plunger down, move your piston down, and it can cause you obviously leakage then onto your nib and into your cap. So apologies if I keep coming off camera. I'm just getting used to my space. So this is the never any problems with this pen. Always write straight off, especially with this ink. Never had any problems at all. So this is a fine nib. So it's the TWSBI Eco Cafe Bronze. Love how this writes. It's a really nice kind of, what I say, everyday writer. So this is a pen that I'd pick up to, you know, just do any kind of writing. I do use it in my journals quite regularly, particularly in my smaller books. I will show you the journal I'm using at the end as well. Oh, this book, by the way, if you're interested, is it's the Ali Riaz one, I believe. So this is from a lovely lady called Philo Fabulous on Instagram. She does these amazing, now look how chunky this is. It's B6 size and it's 1,000 pages. And honestly, the paper in here is beautiful. I mean, you'll see these are quite thick fountain pen inks, and yes, there's some ghosting, but there's no bleed or anything coming through there. But you're going to get it, obviously. It's Temu River paper, but it's lovely quality. So if anyone's having problems with their with their hobos or the Temu River paper books, she has still got these on available. So she does them in a B6. I think there's an A5, but don't quote me on that. But she definitely now does them in a standard as well. And she also has got a Cosmo paper one as well, which I've never tried Cosmo paper. Let me know if you have. I've heard that it is amazing for fountain pens, so I may have to invest in one of those, but we'll see. You know, money's a bit tighter now, so they're a big, you know, they're a big investment. But this is going to last me like forever and a day. I mean, look at that, and you know how thin these pages are. And I just use this for everything really. I put morning pages in here. I do journaling prompts and things as well. I put different bits and pieces in. This is from Graceful Muse. This month's with the sub kit, the card that came with it. So I just do all kinds of bits and pieces. If I just feel like writing, I'll do something like this. I started to write out the Raven poem by Edgar Allan Poe, which needs finishing, and just using my ink. So I just love this book for just whenever I feel like I just want to write. Like I say, I do my morning pages in there, and you know, whatever. So it's really lovely. So yeah, just to highlight this, I'll put her details down below. I'll link her Instagram, and you can have a look. So yeah, so it's KWZ. It smells like coffee, and yeah, it really, really does. It's gorgeous. Oh, just smell my pen. Wish I got smelly vision. So yeah, beautiful ink, beautiful pen, beautiful match. The TWSBI are releasing this in an espresso, so I might have to swap things up a little bit. My coffee Crema, Robert Oster, which I'll show you in a minute, might have to go into this one, and the Smells Like Coffee might have to go into the espresso one, but we will see. We'll see. So that's those two. Let me put the inks over here so I know they're dealt with. Okay, pop my pen back. All right, so my next one is again another one that I keep inked up pretty much all the time. I mean, I think I did mention most of my pens are inked up a lot of the time in general. So this is my Esterbrook Estie Raven, one of my favourite pens. It's my first, what I call, I know a lot of people probably have a different opinion. This for me was a big investment. It was nearly £200 for this pen, and for me that was a hell of a lot of money to pay for a pen. So I don't baby my pens, but I do try to be a little bit extra cautious with the ones obviously that cost a little bit more. I adore this pen. So at the minute I've got KWZ, another KWZ ink, and this is Sheen Machine. Now this is actually very similar to Cosmic Glow, but it does have kind of a little bit of a different personality, but I just think it goes so well with this being Raven, because obviously if you look really closely at a raven's feathers or a crow's feathers, you'll see all the different kind of blues and purples and almost like pinks and greens that are in the feathers, so they're not just strictly black if you look at them closely. So hence why that one's in here. I have had just a pure black. I've had TWSBI black in this pen as well, which is really lovely, but I just love having a sheen. So this is a really nice sheening ink again. Sheen Machine says it all really. Says what it is on the tin. Give it a shake. Again, oh gosh, yeah, I had this problem before. Bear with me. Okay, so that took a little while to get open. This one seems to dry around the lid when it gets to open it. So as you can see, it looks blue in the lid, but to me that actually looks quite purpley in there. So yeah, and yeah, I've got this all over my hands already. So we'll give this a dip. I've just noticed on the box as well, these are handmade inks, which I didn't realise. Handmade fountain pen ink. So, okay, so this is Sheen Machine. So as you can see, it's got that similar kind of hue to that one, but it's a little bit darker. So it's a darker blue. Here's me saying I don't like blue inks particularly and using all of these, but you can see this now. This has got much more kind of like purple. And similar thing will happen with this one as well. Okay, so I'll just give that a wash. And I'll do the writing sample for you with the... Okay, put that on gently, and I'll have to give that a proper clean before we fully put that away. Okay, so you will see this start to change. So yeah, oh look at that blob. Knew this was going to happen while I was doing this. But if you're not getting ink all over your fingers when you're playing with your fountain pens and your inks, like, why even bother? So it's all part of the fun. So this is my Esterbrook. You've probably noticed I don't very often post my pens. I do with some of the smaller ones, but I prefer, for some reason, this is just my natural way that I kind of sit with my lid here and just, yeah, so I don't particularly post them. I don't like posting this one because it's so matte. I feel like if I post it, it's gonna mark the pen here maybe. So Esterbrook Estie Raven. What I haven't done is put what nib sizes they are they? I have told you this is a medium nib, and it's KWZ Sheen Machine. Really nice juicy nib and juicy ink to go with it. So yeah, I just think that works really well, like the bluey and the purple. You can probably see it's going more purple now. And just show you there and just bring it up. So and see, and it starts to sheen. You can really see the sheen coming through on Cosmic Glow and on the writing there, so that's really cool. Really doing what it says on the tin. So that's, yeah, my Esterbrook Estie. So my next one is my other Esterbrook Estie, or one of them. So this, again, I tend to keep inked up pretty much all the time. So yeah, and this has got the flex nib on that. Again, I bought the extra nibs and changed them. So this has got Cafe Crema in it, I believe. Let me just double check. Yes, this is definitely Cafe Crema. So this is Robert Oster Cafe Crema. So this is another very popular kind of brown ink. Give it a bit of it. Again, no sheen or shimmer or anything with this one. A nice kind of basic brown. Again, quite a popular one, I believe, in the community. A lot of people really rate this one. I really like it. It's slightly different brown, bit lighter than the Smells Like Coffee. But I do try, I like to, probably noticed, I like to match my inks to my pen. So I do try and find the best ink that will match. In most cases, in some I just put it in because I like it for the fun. So yeah, so that's Robert Oster Cafe Crema. There we go, you can see there. And this, as I said, this has got my flex nib, so it's a fine flex. Just give the nib a bit of a wipe so you can see that nib better, because it is a really pretty nib with the cutouts as well. Let's see, fix it better there. Okay, so again, this is the, you can see the difference between this and the other Estie nib, how much thinner this is. Esterbrook Estie, and this is the honeycomb, and if you can see as I'm writing, it does have that flex, which with this particular ink you can see it's really given a different kind of shading on that. You can see where it's lighter and darker, and I think that just works beautifully. Just love how that looks. And particularly with the flex nib, you will get that, because obviously there's more pressure in some places where it flexes, and that's why I love a flex nib. Look at that, you can really see that's come out really lovely. Actually, I'm really pleased with that. That's given a lovely shading on the writing rather than just on the sample, so you can really see where it's dark and light in the same ink. So there we go. Very happy with how that's looking. Okay, so the next one is one of my Jinhao 10s. So these are the dupe of the Pilot Vanishing Point Pilot Capless. I've just sold it actually. I decided to sell it. So I'd got a capless that I was using. It was exactly the same as this. It was the matte black. And I was going to do a comparison, but then I decided to sell it, and it has sold today, actually, because it's exactly the same as this pen. But I prefer writing with this pen. I just love how this feels. It's so much smoother. The capless was scratchy, and yes, I know it was an extra fine, and the feedback with the gold nibs, blah, blah, and all that, but I prefer this. It's really smooth. It's lovely. It feels lovely to hold and to write with, and honestly, I can't, I just can't kind of big this pen up enough, kind of thing. The only thing I found with this one in particular, which it could just be this pen, because I'll explain that in a minute, it does have a bit of a hard start. So if I haven't used it for like 24 hours plus, it does take a little bit to get going. Doesn't bother me. I'll just prime it with the converter and just, let the pen run for a little bit. But for the difference in price, I'm happy to do that. I'm really not that overly fussed, because when it's going, it just writes so beautifully. I have bought another one which is next on my list, which I'll show in a minute, and I haven't had that problem with that pen. Whether it's to do with the ink that I've put in, just not being quite as wet, I don't know, but it has got a Sailor ink in, which I'll tell you next. So I've only got a sample of this, sorry, not a Sailor, a Pilot ink. So this is Pilot no, I'm not even going to try and say it. You'll know if you know. So this is the Yamaguri, and this is like a dark chestnut. So again, it's another kind of brown. You can see a bit of a theme here, can't you? So no, there is one that's slightly different, I promise. Actually, two. So yeah, this is another kind of brown, but yeah, more of a chestnut. I am going to buy a bottle of this because I do really like it. I bought the sample just to make sure first. I tend to, if it's an ink I want to try, I will try. So see, it's completely different kind of brown. It's more almost muddy, but yeah, I definitely would say it's got that chestnut tone to it, hasn't it? I can definitely see why it's dark chestnut. So yeah, that's Pilot Yamaguri. It is one I really like, and as I said, I am going to buy a bottle. So I'll just give this a clean up, and I will show you how this one works. Hopefully I have pre-primed it, so it should be okay. So yeah, straight off the back there. Oh, it's so smooth. I just love how this writes. This is the fine Jinhao 10 matte black. And it's a fine nib, and it's Pilot, and it's Yummy Guri. Now it is Pilot Shikiori, I think it is called, the full name. Again, I will put it down below for those of you that maybe not are familiar with it. But yeah, as you can see, this is a completely different kind of brown. So this one is a lot more, again, it's no shimmer, no sheen, nothing particularly overly dramatic about it, just a really lovely, and as you can see when you're writing with it, it's not quite as full on as just a black ink, but it is a nice dark one that you could use for a lot of different reasons, and oh, it just writes so lovely. I'm just so chuffed with this. So yeah, I've sold my other one, I'm just keeping, and I've bought two more Jinhaos, one of which I'm going to show you in a second, and another one that's come in that's in kind of like, it's called, it's a dupe of the whiskey, Pilot Capless, if you've seen that. It's kind of like a gradient brown into an orange, and it's, yeah, just beautiful. So the next one is this one. This is my next Jinhao 10. So I just fell in love with this. And the reason I bought this actually was because I bought an ink in a D-stash that I just was in love with, which I'll show you in a second. And then I wanted the perfect pen for the ink. See, it does work both ways. And this was about £18 from Amazon, this one. And this is called the Agate, I believe. And it's got this gorgeous red that goes through it. Bring it up so you can just see that. It's absolutely beautiful colourway, and then it's got the gold hardware, which is really nice, and obviously very different to my matte black one. So yeah, really chuffed with that. And the ink is Wearingal Dracula, so you can kind of see why I wanted something to go with the red. It's got exactly the same kind of toning there as the outside of the pen. So, and this has got kind of like, can see all that shimmer at the bottom. It's got a pink shimmer to it, so it's a really unusual red. Again, red inks aren't generally something I go for, but I've absolutely fallen for this one. So give it a really good shake so we can get as much of that shimmer as we can. I seem to have put this Dracula ink in everything. I've put it in so many different pens, but I think this is definitely the ultimate for it. Just the perfect match. So pop the bubbles. It's the only thing we're giving them a good shake. You do get a bit of a bubbliness going on. A bit of a frothy. Oh gosh, I've got a nice dip there. Just get that from around the edge. get this on anything, and it does look a little bit like a murder. So we'll give this a good swatch. So as you can see, it's an absolutely lovely red. I haven't got quite enough on the, there we go, that's better, on the bottom of my nib there. Let's give it another dip. And the bubbles are affecting it slightly there. Probably shook it up a bit too much. There we go, that's better. So it's a lovely rich red, and as it settles you'll see that shimmer come through, and yeah, it's beautiful, really nice ink. Again, very matching. I love the Wearingal. So yeah, it's a Wearingal ink, if I didn't already say. I have got another Wearingal. I've got Persephone, which is kind of like a very shimmery purple. I love how they're all, a lot of them are named on literary figures and you know, kind of fantasy and like different gods and things from legends and things like that. So yeah, I love that kind of vibe for it. And I just think these are really lovely bottles as well, just really kind of classic. So there we go, proper very right at the bottom of my book here. So yeah, I can just see the pink glitter starting to come through, so it should hopefully show soon. So this is a Jinhao 10 in Agate. Again, it just writes so smoothly. This is a fine nib as well, and I tend to spell it wrong, so let me just check. I can't actually see that. I think it's EUL. Apologies if I have spelled that wrong. And it's Dracula. So obviously it just fits my gothy vibe anyway, so yeah, perfect ink for me. So yeah, it just fits really beautifully with this pen in particular. So really happy, love that combination. It's probably one that I'll stick with. So I can just see it now. I don't know if the light's gonna bring it up, but I don't know if I've done it quite thick enough, but you just start to see that pink shimmer come through. So when that dries, obviously I'll give you another look at that. So I didn't bring in not very clever of me, I didn't bring in a piece of blotting paper, so I'm just going to pop that there so we can go on to the next page. So I'm not going to do it. Oh, we did get some bleeding, so that's very interesting because I haven't tried these two inks in here. So there's me going on and on about the how amazing the paper was, and we have got some bleeding on these three actually, on the swatches, not on the writing. So to me that's the important thing. So nothing on the writing. So ordinarily it would just be kind of writing, but yeah, you can see there is quite a bit of bleed through there. But I mean, they are thick inks, and I did give them a really thick swatch. So yeah, so that's really interesting. It's actually gone through to that page as well on the Dracula, but it is a really wet thing, and I don't care, it doesn't bother me. Like I said, the main thing is the writing hasn't bled, so that's interesting, but just to bear in mind. So I'm going to start on this page. In fact, I'm just going to let that sit because it's bent slightly, so rather than having an ugly Amazon bit there. So where are we next? Okay, so this is my last of kind of like my main pens. So this is my Leonardo Momento, and this is in jade, and I like to have a green ink pen inked up. I don't like typical kind of like what I'd say like Bic green ink, same as like Bic blue and red, kind of those colours, but the different shades of green, as you'll see in a minute. I've got an ink in here called Safari, and it's just a beautiful green. So yeah, so this is the jade colourway. Again, I've put a flex nib in this one. So yeah, this is a nib that I've bought separately. When I bought the pen, there was the option, I bought it with a medium, and you could buy the nib separate as well, so I did grab the other nib because I really do like having the option. Again, this is one they literally just unscrew from the top of the nib unit. It's so easy to change. So let's swatch the ink. So the ink is a Diamine Safari. So this is one of the 50 years anniversary inks. This is one of the first inks I ever had. I was sent a sample with a pen in an advent calendar, and it was this ink probably that threw me hugely into the rabbit hole, because I just decided that I just loved this green, and then I was kind of looking at other greens and other inks and the bottles, and kind of really that was it. I was hooked. So it was this ink that really started it. So I had a sample, then I bought the bottle, and yeah, I love it. You can buy all of them, they all fit together in kind of like, they go round, all the 50th anniversary ones. I haven't got any of the others. This is the only one that really floats my boat, so give it a little shake again. But this is a beautiful green, and Safari is exactly what it is. It's kind of an olive green, I would say, but it has got that, what you would think of as a safari green, kind of maybe military green, maybe a bit lighter than a proper military carded khaki, but yeah, beautiful. There we go. Give it a good swatch so you can see the different shading on it. So yeah, again, that's Safari by Diamine. Don't think you can beat my all inks. I don't think I've come across a bad ink. I haven't tried any, so Jinhao now do inks. I haven't tried any of those. I'm not sure. I think Diamine and that are fairly reasonable inks anyway, and we know they're good quality, so I haven't been swayed yet to try any of the Jinhao inks, but if they're as good as their pens, they should be fine. So yeah, this writes so well. Leonardo Momento 0. And I believe it's Jada or something like that, but it's Jade, and the ink is Diamine. Safari 50th anniversary. Oh, and I forgot the nib again. So this is an Elastico Flex, and it's a fine, so it's a fine flex. So a fifth. So yeah, beautiful pen. I really love how this writes. This has got a lot of flex to it as well. This one is actually, I call them all Elastico, but this is the kind of official. It's the Leonardo that's the Elastico. Yeah, just lovely. And again, these flex nibs, so they've got the cut out of the side. I just think it makes the nib look just that little bit more interesting as well. So love that. So that's my green for the month. So those are mainly my currently inked and what I will be using. I do also have my Mont Blanc, which is inked up. It's got my oblique nib, and it's just inked up with Quink Black, and that's kind of just a black I use and I reach for if I need that. So yeah, you can really see that Sheen in as well now on Sheen Machine. There we go. Get the light catch it. Unfortunately, Dracula's not giving as much shimmer. Oh, there we go. That's better. There you go. You can see it now. Oh, yeah. Not hugely overly dramatic, that glitter for Dracula, but it's still really nice. Shame it has bled quite so much. I'll have to bear that in mind, but yeah, with that nib, it's totally fine. So no bleed through there. So I've got a couple of like special mentions, if you like. So I recently bought this one. Now I need to look up what it's called because I'm gonna pronounce it wrong and spell it wrong. So I don't want to. So 1 second. I did actually buy it from Temu, but you can get them directly from the people that make them, I believe, from the shop. I want to make sure that I just... Right. So I'll show you on here. So it's a oh no, I'm going to say Wancai. Or Wancai. Wancai. I don't think the camera's picking that up. There you go. And it comes in this sparkly burgundy. There's a clear, which would be really nice. I think I'm going to order one of those. And they're literally $2.99, these pens. Oh, the other colourway is the blue. And again, they're all sparkly. I think you can get them in all different colours as well if you buy them other places. So there you go, just so that's right. So it's a teeny tiny pen. If I compare it to just a standard TWSBI, so I'll give you a good idea. TWSBI's a good one to compare to, so you can see the difference here. But the ink capacity is actually not much different to what you get in the TWSBI for the size of the pen. So it's an eyedropper, so basically the whole of this you can fill with ink. There's no converter, no cartridge, no piston. You literally just screw this off, and there's silicone round here, which you can get some silicone. If you buy a TWSBI, you get a bottle of silicone with it anyway, because it uses that for the piston. So there's some silicone that's round here. And then this, literally, you can probably see the ink inside, yeah. Literally eyedropper that in. So it comes with an eyedropper and you literally drop it in. So you've got that huge ink capacity there for such a tiny pen. Again, this is a fine. I tend to find most Chinese pens come standard with a fine nib. And how it works is when you open it up and you screw the other end on, and then an uncapped TWSBI, there's only like a nib's length difference in the actual length of this pen. So it's definitely kind of on a par with the size of the Ecos, which is really nice. I keep one of those inked up in black as well, by the way. The piston one, I think I showed you that in my collection video. But this is just such a nice writer. I was so shocked at how this wrote. And it's really beautiful. So we'll swatch the ink that I've got in here first. So again, this is an ink vent ink. So this is Bar Humbug. This is a chameleon. So again, it's got kind of like that sheen and a bit of shimmer in there as well. And it's like a burgundy red, I always think. Now I know this is purple, but I don't know if it's fully picking up the purple on the camera or whether it's red, but I just think it just still goes really well. You can compare it to that, and I just think it's really nice, works really well in this pen. And again, this is quite a full-on ink, so I don't worry about whether it might damage my pen or not, because the pen only cost me like £2 something, which still is crazy to me. So we'll swatch this. I have a feeling this might go through as well, because this is quite a think ink. So I think this was last year's advent. So when I say last year, I mean 23. And I do remember it being more red when I first swatched it. It's almost like it's darkened as it's been. And I haven't had it that long, but I suppose it was in the calendar from the year before, so I guess it has got that age. But whatever's happened to it, even if the colour has changed slightly, I really love the colour it's gone, so I'm not complaining. Let me just see, has that bled? See, no, it hasn't. I really thought that would, but it hasn't. So yeah, so this is it's a purple sparkle. Got that the wrong way around, haven't I? I should have put the name first. And it's, I'm not going to say it again because it just sounds wrong when I say it. And it's a fine nib, and it's a diamine ink vent. Just writes so beautifully, and it's Bar Humbug. It does have quite a glitter to it. It's, yeah, you can see it's just starting to come through. Actually, that's a really nice swatch. That's really coming through nicely. Doesn't tend to come through so much in the writing with this pen in particular because it is quite a fine nib. Let's see if you can just see the sparkle that's coming through on it. Really lovely. Now obviously it's still wet, so as that dries off you'll get even more of the sparkle. But yeah, if you want to try a pen, get yourself on Temu and grab one of these. They are just so... not affiliated in any way, by the way. Not trying to get any sales. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful little pen just to start off if you want to have a go. And the nib, oh, I just keep raving about the nib. It's so smooth. Really lovely. So yeah, that's that little fella. Right, so I'm going to fill the next one with you. So I'm just going to move that out of the way first. I'm going to do a fill. So yeah, so this is my War of the Roses Retro 51. And I did mention in my, my collection video that I hadn't got this inked up. And we did think about maybe adding a red to it because of the little flecks of red. And obviously it's War of the Roses. So a friend of mine said, oh, red ink could look probably really nice in there. And I thought about Dracula, but I thought, well, I seem to have Dracula in quite a few pens at the minute. And I thought, do you know what? Writer's Blood, I think, would be perfect in this because it kind of really does match the vibe as well. And I'd only got a sample of Writer's Blood. So I went onto Amazon and I bought just a small bottle of Diamine Writer's Blood. Very much a classic fountain pen lovers ink. Most people have this in their collection. It's kind of like one that kind of starts off a lot. It's a beautiful red again, but again, more of a burgundy red. So, but let's do a fill. There's no shimmer, no shine, no chameleon, nothing particularly with that. I've got converter in here. So, got converter ready. And we'll see how well this fills. Right, so I'm going to put my cloth down because I'm nothing if not clumsy, especially when it comes to ink. So we'll give this a fill and then we'll give it a swatch. Let's see if we get a good fill. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Make sure we get this shut because otherwise I will knock it over. So we'll just give this a wipe over. That's why these kind of cloths are really handy. And over time they just look really lovely as well because you get all these ink splotches and things on there. So there we go. That should be good to go. But we'll see in a minute when we try and write with it. It might just take, it shouldn't, because when you fill via the nib into a converter it tends to work straight off. So we'll just clap that up a minute. See, I did get it all over my fingers, but it's not too bad. I've had worse, I've had a lot worse. Right, so let's give this a swatch first. So I have to remember it's a new bottle, so plenty of ink in there. Oh, a big splodge on the wood. There we go. Give that a wipe because yes, that will be all over my fingers. Okay, so we should get. Oh, it really isn't that dissimilar, is it, to the Bar Humbug? Apart from that shimmer's really coming out in the Bar Humbug now. Obviously this will dry a different colour. Oh, that really is gorgeous. Definitely the right name for it, isn't it? Definitely has that blood. And goes to Dracula. I seem to be leaning this month towards the more reddy colours, which funnily enough for February, you might think that would be the case. Just because the whole Valentine things. However, they're all kind of deep, dark blood reds, aren't they? Rather than pinky, vibranty kind of bright reds. Oh, that's beautiful. And okay, you can really see the shimmer on Bar Humbug as well now. Really picking that up nicely. Gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Love my inks. Right, let's try these. Retro 51s do tend to write beautifully. I think this is a fine. Let me see if I can see. There it is on the side. Oh, it's teeny tiny. Yeah, that's an F. So it is a fine nib, which I thought. So this is the... Oh, they write so lovely. Retro 51. Really smooth nibs. War of the Roses. A thicker fine because it is an American brand rather than tend to find that the Chinese and Japanese kind of pens, their fine is a lot finer. But the American and the European pens tend to have a thicker nib, standard as fine. Look how beautiful and long that nib is as well. They're gorgeous. I do love the Retro 50. I think these are the Jawa nibs as well, again. Not sure if they're Jawa or Schmidt nibs. Not quite sure. Perhaps if you know, you can let me know. And the ink is Diamine. Told you, I've probably said it about 15 different times while I've been doing this video. Writer's Blood. Yeah, I'm really happy with that as a combination. Why does it just work with it being War of the Roses? It just, yeah, that just really does work. So yeah, beautiful ink, lovely match. So thanks Becca for the red suggestion. Yeah, that made me kind of lean towards the Writer's Blood one. So yeah, so that's what I've got currently inked at the moment. So I'm not going to worry about that going over on that page because we've already got that bleeding. So we've got the gorgeous, let me get that right. So the gorgeous Cosmic Glow in my Jinhao 100. The Smells Like Coffee, and yeah, it still smells like coffee on the page. It's lovely. My Esterbrook Estie Raisin's got Sheen Machine. Yeah, you can definitely see that sheen now. Good old Cafe Crema in my Honeycomb. My Yamaguri in my other Jinhao 10, my matte black. And then this gorgeous, they definitely got the shimmer there. That pink shimmer in Dracula. Move it all around so you can really see how gorgeous that is. It's Wearing Gold Dracula. And then we've got the lovely Safari Olive Green with the Leonardo. Then we've got the purple sparkling Bar Humbug in the mini pen. Really showing that shimmer now. There we go, that's really picked it up lovely. That's different. And then good old classic Writer's Blood for my War of the Roses pen. So yeah, really happy with those. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to show you a quick look at my main kind of day-to-day book that I'm using to plan and journal. And yeah, then we'll come back. My next video will actually be doing some journal prompts and doing some journaling. So let me just swap this over. So many bits and pieces on here. So yes, I'm using an A5, which for me, for the last couple of years, I've been in, well, the last year, sorry, I've been in a standard size, which I am still using, so I'm using that for prompts as well. But this is kind of like my everyday, what I'm putting appointments in, what I'm putting my to-do lists in, things like I'm like waiting on, goals, trackers, that kind of thing, sort of general day-to-day planner, if you like, the closest I'm got to planning. And then sort of just daily journaling, just a little bit of something about what's happened in the day. So this is the Twines and Paper week book. It's the hybrid, so you can get a bit of glare on there. So I bought this in a D-stash. I had actually seen it online, managed to get in D-stash, and I'm so happy with it. I absolutely love it. So I've just done a little bit of decoration on the inside. So this is all Colour Cafe bits and pieces, I believe. This is an older acetate. You can see the pumpkins, but it kind of fits with my books and pens and kind of that kind of aesthetic, so that kind of had to go in there. And you know me, if you watch previous videos, you'll kind of know me, that there's the pumpkin vibe is all year round. And then I've just put a little bit of decoration in. So this page is really nice. So this kind of just gives you a tracker for each month. So what I'm doing is, I really liked the idea of keeping track of what inks I'd used. So what I'm doing on here is, when I journal, I then do just a little swatch of what ink I've used. So it's kind of like, hopefully at the end of the year, it'll be a year in little ink swatches of what ink I've used for each day to journal in. So I'm not really using these. This is just kind of like an overview to keep me on track of what's coming in. I did start to do a bit of a habit tracker, but I haven't really kept up with that. I need to rethink this space. And then there's kind of goals and kind of looking at what I want to do for my patron. So kind of look there. So looking at goals and things, but again, that's not something I've really fully kind of done as yet. And then it comes kind of into so with this you get an overview of the month. Then you get a monthly. So I've used this to do a little bit of what I've been grateful for each day. So just a little bit of something for each day in January. Using different inks again, and just keeping track of just a little bit of something that just grateful for each day, or that something nice that's happened. And then I'm going to take you to a blank one, because I think that will show you better. And also, I didn't go through this beforehand to see if there might be anything that I didn't want you to say. So with this is the layout you get. So you get that and up into the monthly, and then you get a weekly spread that's horizontal here. It's very like the weeks. And then you've got these boxes, your overview, and then space for lots of things. So the way I've been using it, let me just check. Yeah, there's nothing at all on here that's anything to think. So as you can see, I have had some bleed through. So with this book, I found that some of the pages have bled through, some haven't. Even when I've used the same ink and the same pen, with the same nib width, obviously, same pen. And some pages it's been fine and some hasn't. So this is Temu River paper. I think there must be a mix of the old and the new in here, or something's going wrong with, you know, how it's finished somewhere, because in some places I'm getting bleeding, some places I'm not. So it's really hit and miss. It doesn't put me off. I can deal with it. It's a little bit annoying because it affects the writing that you're doing on each page. However, it's not enough to put me off using this book, and I just love it. I love the layout. So yeah, really happy. This is my Graceful Muse February sub. If you want to know what that is. So the way I'm using it is kind of just like daily, and just keeping track of anything that's happening or any appointments. On here I've got an ongoing to do, what I want to do, things I'm waiting on, so orders and things that I'm waiting for. And then here I've been putting different notes and quotes. Let me see if I can find one that didn't really do that in February. So yeah, here you can see kind of in for this week, which was the 20th of January, and this is what I've been trying to do, just add quotes, and again just a reason to do some writing and bits and pieces, really different things. My February overview again, and that's my monthly. Again, gratitude, I just need to catch up with this week. And then I don't think there's anything particularly in here. So yeah, I did put something a little bit more personal on that one, so I'll just cover that up. But then yeah, I've just been using the next pages. So yeah, you get a horizontal and you get then a vertical, which is why it's a hybrid. So this is just my daily journaling. So this is just like what I've been doing kind of every day. Pre-decorating, so I'll show you a blank one. So yeah, you get the horizontal, then you get a vertical, and I just love having both in one planner, and I think that's what it does for me. It saves me keeping more than one. And then So obviously it goes through that every week, but I love the fact that you get your monthly at the start. So as the new month starts, let's have a look at March. So literally the layout is a blank page, a monthly overview, monthly spread, and then into your weeks. So you get your horizontal and your vertical for each week, and I just think it's just ideal. And then it comes to the end, so finish up, and I think right at the end you've got a January as well, so into next year you have got a January to start, so just an overview there. And then a monthly for January, and then you've got all these numbered blank pages. So if you did want to journal extra, you've obviously got these pages then. Just looking at how many, so they're numbered from number 1 through to 150, so 150 blank pages then at the back as well, and it's just beautiful, it's gorgeous. And then this is where I've been doing pen tests and things, so you can just see and what has bled through occasionally. So unfortunately this is a bit of a bleed page. This I just had a bit of an accident with an ink splodge, but again adds character, doesn't it? Shows that I'm using inks. And so you've got some space for addresses and contacts, which I don't think I really use through there. And then on the back page it's just got your personal information, so just kind of like name, address, phone number and things that you can keep in there. And then at the back it's then just got a pocket and obviously the back of the Motum. So yeah, so that's kind of like my everyday that I'm kind of using, and I'm really happy with it. And then I'm using a standard Faded Chronicles weekly, which very similar kind of layout, as in you get the horizontal, the blank page, and then pages that are blank that you can use as a daily or however you want. And I'm using those with my journal prompts that is linked to my Patreon, so I'll talk more about that in my next video, and I'll go through those prompts and do some journaling with you, and bring back some pens, and we'll see how that goes. So thanks for coming along, thanks for watching, thank you so much for the support and the warm welcome back. It's been really lovely, and I'm looking forward to doing more fountain pen, ink and journaling content moving forward. If there's anything specific you want to see, you want to look at, if you want any comparison of pens, or there's anything at all that you want to say, please do let me know down below. Any suggestions? I had one suggestion on my last video for a Jinhao to try, so if any of you have got any hidden Jinhaos that are just amazing and are a good price, then please do let me know, because I just love trying these dupe pens, and honestly I haven't come across one that's been bad yet. My only thing is the 9019, if anybody's got that, that's just, I think I showed it before, maybe I didn't, I don't know, but that's just a little bit too fat for my hands. But other than that, like I say, beautiful pen. So yeah, let me know, jabba jabba, waffle as ever. So yeah, thanks for coming by, and happy inking everybody.